Two members of the City Council that are here, Councilman Manny Grova from the 1st Ward and Councilwoman at Large Patricia Perkins Augusti. I thank the members of City Council for joining me here as well. And now a member of the House, Congressman Rush Holt.
Thank you, Mayor Bollwage. Indeed, you are a leader in this. Just as Senator Frank Lautenberg is the leader in the United States Senate to make our streets safer. He's done so much, and he didn't wait. Year after year, he's been fighting for these things with an effectiveness that is rarely seen on an issue like this, up against the NRA. Senator Menendez, there's no better fighter to make our schools in New Jersey strong, our water clean, our air clean, our streets safe. And he understands that New Jersey's safety can be undercut by lax laws in other states, which is why Senator Lautenberg's laws on gun safety should be passed. Senator Lesniak, Assemblywoman Stender, and others here are fighters for this. But I'm particularly pleased today to see the men in blue, because we politicians can talk all day long about this. They get it. They understand that assault weapons serve no purpose for hunters. They serve no purpose for collectors. They serve no purpose for sportsmen. Multi-round clips, they serve no purpose. And they understand, as Senator Lautenberg does, that as Senator Menendez said, if you have to buy cold medicine face-to-face, surely you should be buying ammunition face-to-face. In the House of Representatives, after Littleton, after Columbine, after the shooting in Tucson where my good friend and colleague Gabrielle Giffords was shot, we had a moment of silence on the floor of the House. After the shooting in Aurora, we had a moment of silence on the floor of the House. We have a moment of silence after the recent tragic shooting in the Sikh temple in Wisconsin. Let's make sure that those moments of silence aren't followed by years of silence in the face of the challenge of the NRA. I'm a strong supporter of the efforts of Senator Lautenberg and Menendez to require face-to-face ammunition purchasing requirements. I'm a co-sponsor of the legislation in the House of Representatives with my good friend Carolyn McCarthy, who feels this personally because of her family's loss. The companion bill in the House of Representatives, she is our leader there. I'm a co-sponsor of bills to deny potential terrorists the ability to purchase firearms or explosives, to strengthen background checks. In fact, I'll take credit for being the only person in the House of Representatives in the current Congress to succeed in passing legislation in this Congress to extend the criminal background checks. But that's not enough. We have to work hard now and not pull back because some say we're politicizing this issue. We have to work hard to pass Senator Lautenberg's legislation. The Fixed Gun Checks Act would, among other things, extend the Brady Act background check. There's, of course, things we must do with mental health. There are things we must do with police protection. There are things we must do with public education. But anyone who argues that gun safety legislation has no place here is illogical or blindly ideological. Of course we need to do this, and we need to do it now. Not with another moment of silence, but with committed action right now, in the face of those who say we shouldn't. I thank the senators for their great work on this.
Thank you very much, Congressman. A member of the New Jersey State Senate, the senator from this district, the 20th District, Senator Raymond Lesniak.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. Senator Lautenberg and I served in the United States Army. Not at the same time, Greg.
No, you were ahead of me. He had your back.
As members of our military, we fired weapons, not guns. Weapons are not made for hunting or for target shooting. They're made to kill. They're made to kill people. They belong in the hands of our police and our military, not on our streets. And guns with magazines of more than 10 bullets are not guns, they're weapons. I applaud our senators for trying to get them off our streets. Thank you.
Assemblywoman from the 20th District, Assemblywoman Annette Quijano.
Good afternoon. We all know that when we were children and we watched movies from the safety of our living rooms, that was it. We were surrounded by family. We were safe. We watched tragedies, but we knew that they were fantasies in the movies, and that no matter what happened, even though we were afraid to look, and at times we put our hands in front of our faces, but still peeked, that we would be okay. But that was the America that I grew up in. That's not the reality of today. We have been shocked over and over and over again. When there were shootings in a high school, where there were shootings in a college, when Congresswoman Gifford was shot, at something that we do every day at a supermarket. Last month, there were wounded and people killed in a movie theater. Again, something that we do and not think, will we be safe? Will our children be safe? And unfortunately, the shooting at a place of worship, some place that we ultimately all feel safe, and now we don't. When these tragedies happen, we can't wait for that moment of silence. We have to talk about it. We have to. This is a serious subject, and it's not to politicize anything, but when is the right time? When do we talk about what happened? And more importantly, when do we act? I'm here today because I wanted to stand with Senator Lautenberg, Senator Menendez, and all the elected officials, and the men and women in blue, and all those that serve to protect us, to say now is the time. And we can't rely on patchwork laws that differ from state to state. We need uniformity, and that's why I'm here to support sensible gun safety, reform to stop the violence. I've had a few bills in the Assembly, but what I want to do now is talk with my colleagues and actually look and make sure that we are not doing patchwork laws, and that our laws in the state of New Jersey would mirror the legislation that Senator Lautenberg and Senator Menendez have introduced. And I ask all of you to join with us, because now is the right time. I don't want to be here again for another moment of silence or to say we have to go back. Right now is the time to do the work that we were elected to do. Thank you.
Assemblywoman from the 22nd District, Assemblywoman Linda Stender.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon. I am so very proud to stand here today with Senators Lautenberg and Menendez and Congressman Holt on the steps of City Hall, gathered with my colleagues in the legislature, mayors, and the people and women, men and women in blue, who carry out our laws. Because we are a country of laws, and we need sensible gun laws. We need them to be nationally enacted to keep our families safe. Because ultimately this issue is about values. We know that the gun industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. The NRA is a marketing machine that lobbies and markets, and part of what they sell is fearfulness to people who think that they will lose their rights under the Second Amendment. That's not what this is about. This is about values and peace of mind in our homes and on our streets. And ultimately we get to make a decision Are we going to support and pass laws that will give us that peace of mind, or are we going to allow the gun execs and the NRA to continue to profit from murder and mayhem by excessive access to weapons? I stand with the senators and the people gathered here today. I hope that we all stand together and that we will enact sensible gun laws right now, as soon as possible, for our peace of mind in this country and in this state. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Assemblywoman. When Mayor Bloomberg and Mayor Menino were forming the Mayors Against Illegal Gun Task Force, the mayor of Jersey City was at the initial meeting in Gracie Mansion, where we have over 70 mayors in New Jersey that are now partners in that, the mayor of Jersey City, Jerry Healy.
Good morning, everyone. It's great to see this good media turnout for such an important announcement. What we're dealing with is a federal plague, requires a federal cure, and that's why I'm very happy that our senators, our congressmen, and this bill that Senator Lautenberg is sponsoring is coming to the fore. I laugh about people on the other side of the aisle in the gun lobby calling this politicizing. This is not politicizing. This is the basic duty of every government, whether it be city, county, state, certainly federal government, the welfare, protection, and safety of our citizens. That is our first order of business at any level of government. This legislation is aimed at exactly that. We in Jersey City and in the state of New Jersey have been working hard to do whatever we can to staunch the flow of illegal weapons that are coming into all of our cities, suburbs, burbs, rural areas. It's really a national plague. So I stand behind Senator Lautenberg, all these elected officials here today. This is basic. It is common sense. It is the first order of business for our government. Let's make our people, our streets, as safe as we possibly can. Resist the NRA, the powerful gun lobby, and all of their foolish, specious, spurious arguments. This legislation has to go forward, and I applaud Senator Lautenberg and all these officials who are here with us today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. This effort would not be possible without strong advocates who are not elected. Dr. Asha Akhil from the Million Mom March.
Senators Lautenberg and Menendez, Congressman Holt, a host of mayors and other legislators. We applaud them for having the courage to bring forth a bill that's going to stop the purchasing of ammunition online. Because we know in this political climate, it's not really politically correct to even talk about sensible gun laws or sensible gun control. And so we really applaud them, and we want to send our sincere sympathies and condolences to the survivors and families of the senseless shootings and deaths of the folks in Aurora, Colorado, and most recently in Wisconsin. We believe that when it's not safe to go to a movie theater, worship in a place of worship, and come home from college to surprise your girlfriend for her birthday and get shot and killed at a block party where you grew up, it's time to do something. To strengthen and make additional sensible gun laws that control the amount of guns and ammunition moving through our neighborhoods. Republican pollster Frank Lutz documents that gun owners support common sense legislation and believe that personal freedom and public safety can coexist. Here's what he found in his study. 87% of non-NRA gun owners and 74% of NRA gun owners support requiring a criminal background check for anyone purchasing a gun. 80% of NRA gun owners, and 71% of NRA gun owners support prohibiting people on the terrorist watch list from purchasing guns. The study documents that substantial common ground that exists to adopt common sense gun laws to protect public safety for everyone. And we would like for everyone to go online, stoponlineammo.com, sign the petition, forward it to all your friends on Facebook and other social media, and let's get behind these senators for their courageous efforts, and so we can stop the flow of guns into our neighborhoods.
From Ceasefire, New Jersey, Nicola Folk.
Good afternoon. My name is Nicola Folk. I'm the project director of Ceasefire, New Jersey, which has been the state-leading gun violence prevention group for the past 25 years. I actually got started in gun violence prevention as a teenager when there was a shooting in my hometown of Montclair, New Jersey. And I remember seeing and being fortunate enough to meet Senator Lautenberg, who was already at the forefront of gun violence prevention legislation. And I'm just so honored to see him and stand with him here today as he continues his tireless work. For decades, we've been blessed to have the Senator, a true champion of gun violence prevention, pave the way as both a leader in the Senate and in our communities. Perhaps most notably, Senator Lautenberg wrote the legislation to keep guns out of the hands of domestic abusers. This ban has prohibited convicted domestic abusers from purchasing and possessing guns and has undoubtedly saved the lives of countless women and children across the country. Senator Lautenberg also co-sponsored the Brady Law, establishing background checks for the purchase of handguns. Pretty common sense, right? And he has been fighting to close the gun show loophole so that felons may no longer walk into a gun show and purchase a gun without undergoing a background check. Let there be no doubt, our nation is a safer place when dangerous individuals are prevented from possessing weapons, and the Senator's tireless work has helped to make our nation safer and save lives. And now, once again, I'm here with the Senator and Senator Menendez and all of our other elected officials as they introduce more key legislation in order to prevent more violence. As we stand here mourning yet another tragic shooting, we must note that a semi-automatic handgun, easily adaptable to use a high-capacity magazine, was once again used to senselessly take the lives of innocent men and women. And we must reflect on the obvious devastation that comes with unregulated access to handguns and ammunition. We can no longer allow dangerous individuals to accumulate an arsenal of ammunition in short periods of time without any detection. The Stop Online Ammunition Sales Act will allow law enforcement to detect suspicious purchases through simple, common-sense regulations such as maintaining records of ammunition sales and reporting mass purchases within a short period of time. Following Aurora, I said that we are facing an epidemic of gun violence in this nation. Our hearts and prayers are with all of the victims of these terrible shootings, but that is not enough. We must also be willing to take action to prevent more such violence. So with a heavy heart, I say again, the reality is, if we do not demand real and meaningful change in this country about guns and ammunition, people will continue to die in devastating numbers from gun violence. Thank you.
Senator Menendez and Senator Lautenberg, a couple of questions. If not, they'll be available afterwards. One question.
Yeah. Take us through the ammunition if you could. Where did this come from? Who purchased it? What is it? Explain the ammunition.
Is that the Senator Menendez?
Whoever did.
No. I don't think we had that info.
Someone sure
it was one of the terrible incidents. The ammunition was obtained over the internet. So, you know, all of that is kind of hidden information. But we know that there are all kinds of sources that bring things like this to the marketplace, and they ought not to be allowed. If it's a face-to-face transaction, at least the culprit, the would-be culprit, knows that somebody's going to recognize it. And it's pure and simple. I look here, it says armor piercing. I look here at this quantity. and wonder how one individual can make sensible use of this, sensible use. There's no explanation, so the response is stop the availability, and then we know that we'll be on the way to a safer life.
Senator, do you think the president needs to take a stronger stance on gun control?
Well, I know the president is very much for gun control, and the bigger that would put him in touch is there, put him on the right side of the issue. And fortunately for the president, he has Senator Menendez, Senator Lautenberg, and others to carry the message, and he encourages us on a regular basis.
I think the senator answered the question. Any more questions? One more.
Actually, he didn't answer the question, but that's not the question. Senator Lautenberg, what impact do you think this legislation on curbing the sales of ammunition online is going to have in cities like Newark and Jersey City, where most of the ammunition doesn't get bought online?
Well, if it doesn't, we are certainly ever presenting an ever larger fight against it. Will there be holes in the system? Sure. But to make it a perfectly legal transaction is an invitation to disaster. So we're going to stop it as much as we can. If we don't get 100% stoppage and we get 80% or some high number, it will have been a good deal.
Only spoke briefly about the gun shows. I recently did a story about Newark gun trafficking. We're talking about background checks in the gun shows, but the problem is there's a lot of straw purchase happening in the parking lots. There's no overseer of that. Is there anything you can do to increase security, police presence at these things? Anything you can do to enforce more regulation at these shows? We're seeing a majority of their ammo and guns come from Ohio and Pennsylvania.
Well, we've had the problem with unlicensed, non-federally licensed gun dealers at gun shows who are not compelled to ask any questions. Who you are, where you live, what's your social security number, none of those things. Just put your money up and walk away with the facilities to kill. And I did some years ago get the bill passed in the United States Senate when Vice President Gore cast a tie-breaking vote, and we won 51 to 50, and it went over to the House of Representatives, where silence prevailed because the gun lobby was so strong. And so we'll have to continue the fight. When we did that legislation, there were all kinds of people saying, "Oh, Frank, you'll never get it done. Oh, Bob, it's impossible." But that didn't stop us from carrying on the fight, and we're going to continue. We're certainly, our case is made better, unfortunately, by the number of killings in the number of states. It doesn't look like any state is protected by that federal law being in place. So we'll just keep on fighting the battle.
Let me join Senator Lautenberg in the answer. A couple things. Number one is we strongly support that you cannot at a gun show ultimately purchase without the background check and the enforcement, the rigorous enforcement of that. But if you cut the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms ability to do so, you dramatically undermine the ability to achieve that goal. I don't know whether large rounds of ammunition are being bought online in Jersey City or Newark or not. I do know that the potential exists to do so, and for so long as the potential exists, we run a risk of someone accumulating large amounts of ammunition that can only be used for an ultimate assault upon a group of people. And no president can do anything except when the Congress of the United States sends him legislation to sign. And so what we are doing here is instigating our colleagues to stand on the right side and to create a national debate and conversation that gets our citizens to stand up and tell our members of Congress in the House and the Senate, it is time. It is time to pass the type of legislation that Senator Lautenberg has authored and I am co-sponsoring. It is time to have reasonable gun control measures. And if we get our citizens to speak out, as they have at different times, then we will get the light in Washington to get people to cast the vote. Forget about the scorecards, forget about the interests that are out there. Do the right thing by our citizens. And to a large degree, this is what this effort is all about. Driving a national conversation that gets our citizens to speak up, create the heat at home so that people see the light in Washington. And that can only happen here.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Thank you.